Hey there, I'm Aki, and these are 10 types of Dead by Daylight players. As a disclaimer, this video is made for fun, in case you still know what that is. If you are in any of these categories, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Starting off with a kind of player that's usually a new player, the immersed survivor. This is the one we don't want to have on our team. They hide whenever they even start to hear the killer's terror radius, crouch around the entire map to not get seen, and are scared to touch generators. You know, the one objective survivors have. I guess you could also count hooks, well, unhooks as an objective for survivors, but they also usually don't go for that. Now, we've all been new and terrified of the killer, but this is something you really shouldn't do after you've got a few hours in the game. Most people get over it, but some try to hold on. Eventually, if they hold on, they turn into the next player type, Blendettes. Yes, we're doing this one. These players always play Claudette with extremely dark clothes to make it harder for the killer to see them. In game, they try to hide in bushes and corners to not be chased, but they're not really scared of the killer, they just like stealthing. But that of course can put the rest of their team in some really bad situations. And to add on to that, if they're injured, they run to a corner of the map to self-care for 45 seconds. Of course, not all Claudette players are like this, but there are enough of them to have become a stereotype. My friend doesn't even want to play in a lobby with a Claudette anymore, so I think that's saying something. Since we're already talking about bad teammates, the gens before friends survivor doesn't care about you. No matter what, if they're on a gen, they'll stay on it until it's finished, or until the last possible second before the killer grabs them. Of course, there are times whether you should commit to a generator, but if there's a teammate on a hook right next to you, another one is on the opposite side of the map, and the third is being chased, you should probably go unhook. Or even if you're the only healthy survivor, it's a lot easier for you to unhook than any of the injured ones. Then again, with the new meta, maybe this is accounted to some perks. Opposite to that, the sweaty survivor main is so focused on winning, they will do pretty much anything to escape. They only use meta perks, super strong items with add-ons like a medkit, with styptic, and usually will end up getting very upset if they do get killed. So if you see a survivor with Dead Heart, Decisive Strike, Unbreakable, and Iron Will burning a white ward, you probably found one of these. And if they do get killed, prepare for a pretty spicy endgame lobby. And of course, counterpart, the sweaty killer main. They're also so focused on winning, they'll do anything to prevent survivors from escaping. Tunneling, camping, all the meta perks, the strongest add-ons, and so on. Now, in a competitive environment, I could understand this, but DBD is not a competitive game. So please, don't be like the sweaty killer main. Don't camp, don't tunnel, be nice. It's not hard to play fair, and if everyone plays fair, everyone has a good time. The casual player is probably the biggest group. They're just trying to have fun. This player is the one that brings the quirky and weird perks to mess around with, like head-on or power struggle. They usually don't mind losing and are also most likely to give you hatch as a killer or give you the kill as a survivor. This is also the group I'm in. I just love the weird perk combinations you can do, and they're so fun if you manage to pull them off. For example, when power struggle actually works, it is so satisfying. Plus, I think this is also the group that's most fun to play against because they don't really care about winning, they just want to have fun. And it's also really refreshing to not have the same perks every single match, but to have some really interesting and new perk combinations for once. The Rage Quitter is highly unstable. If you even look at them the wrong way, they will disconnect. If they bring a map offering, especially if anything goes wrong at all, they're going to disconnect immediately. Sometimes I even see them disconnect just before dying on the hook, and it's so confusing. Like, if you just waited 10 more seconds, you wouldn't have lost all your blood points and not gotten a penalty. Why didn't you? To be fair, I did disconnect maybe 2 or 3 times, but I tried to avoid it. Once I actually ended up disconnecting for a good cause, so my teammate could get the hatch, and that actually did work out, and they escaped. But yeah, try to avoid disconnecting, it's not fun for anyone, especially early in a match. Next up, the hacker. Yep, of course this one has to be on the list. Now currently it looks like it's mating season for them, and new hackers are popping up everywhere. Most of them are super easy to recognize, flying around, instantly completing generators, infinite stuns and blinds, no attack cooldown or changing hook states as they want. But some of them are trying to hide it, which I think is the worst kind of hacker. By just making the speed a few % faster, recovering a tiny bit more quickly, or increasing their lunge by a meter or two, they make it super hard to tell if it's a hacker or legit. Which just means whenever someone actually outplays you, you can never be sure if they weren't actually hacking, which is kinda bad for the game. To be fair, some of the more obvious hacks are kind of interesting to me, like I want to see what they can do. Like, of course they can fly around, but can they escape without the exit gates being opened? Or can they somehow teleport me under the map or something? So I am kind of intrigued, but I'd rather not encounter them. In my 500 hours of playing Dead by Daylight, I've only encountered hackers twice, so I don't encounter them as often as some other people, but there is a lot of complaining about hackers at the moment, so I assume there are a lot. I really hope Behavior are working on a solution for this problem at the moment, but I trust them and hope it's over soon. The nurse main is a hit or miss. Literally. It's going to either be the easiest or hardest match of your life. Just because you're a nurse main doesn't mean you're great at her, and if you're not, you're probably going to struggle a lot. She's a super tough killer, but if you play her really well, there's almost nothing survivors can do. Plus, Nurse is a character that can take really good advantage of perks that expose you, like Know It or Devour Hope, because if you're good with her, almost every single blink is a hit. So you should probably cleanse those totems if you think you're playing against a good nurse. And last but not least, the stretched res gamer. Ah, my eyes, what is that? How can you play like that? Okay, but seriously, this looks so ugly, it's even worse than the people that play Minecraft with max FOV. Sure, it gives you a minimal advantage, but like, is it worth it? There's also currently a debate about if this is cheating or not, so I guess let me know your opinion in the comments down below. And those were 10 types of Dead by Daylight players. If you can think of any other types, make sure to let me know in the comments, and if this video does well enough, I'll do a second part. Huge shout out to my CALLUM leaders on YouTube and Patreon, CALLUM, WHALLEY, CAPITALCLYDE, Jeff the Sea Dragon, and Storm909. But for now, thank you very much for watching, I really hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!